Hello everyone, welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I am joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney.
Hey guys, guess what happened to me earlier?
What?
I don't know how you couldn't guess this, so it was mostly rhetorical.
That's fine.
I was doing dishes, and my next door neighbor, Cam, the human meme, came up behind me, and he whispered in my ear. I knew he was there. Like, I didn't have headphones on. I was just washing some dishes, and he has a key to my place. He just comes in. He starts eating our food. It's fine. He just came up,
weird.
and he whispered in my ear, "Wait till you see my dick."
Wait, alright, I hate to, spoil the end, but did you see his dick?
No, he just walked out. He just went home.
So how long are you prepared to wait to see his dick? Because I sort of feel like,
Yeah.
too long and then it becomes a thing, but too short and you're sort of like, oh, well that was just a dick.
Yeah, I mean, if it was too short, I would be disappointed. Do you guys want to talk about nerd stuff or lost stuff or what? I have actually a bunch of lost stuff this week. We didn't do it last week, and there's a theme this week. I'm actually prepared.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
We don't have to start right there if you guys have something else ready. I don't know. I feel like everybody's really busy. Is it because
I'm not busy, but I'm sad.
Oh. Yeah, Johnny's sad. Also, everyone I know has died of heat stroke because
all of them.
The planet is ruined. So
yeah, it's
not great for a lot of people out there. Who wants to talk about it?
To be fair, that is one of maybe the reasons why I'm sad. That just kind of that's a bummer, dude.
Because we've ruined the only.
You mean that the world
habitable planet
is going to die?
Yeah. Just that kind of sucks,
Yeah. If only we could have taken the measures we know exists to avoid it. Anyway.
That sounds kind of expensive.
It does. It does sound like it would be suboptimal for shareholders.
And I mean, Austin, what would I do if I had a marketplace in which to spend less money than if I had no marketplace to spend, all the money? That just sounds like a bad deal for everyone. No, guys.
Yeah.
My immersion circulator.
It die?
It's sick.
Is it no longer immersive?
It is. I mean, you can dunk anything in water and be like, ta-da! But its
circulation is cut off.
Its circulation. Actually, no, it is circulating just fine. The problem is, it's too hot. It's having the same problem. It's too hot. See, the genius of this technology, the reason why it's so good at cooking cow's feet, is that you can be set to cow's feet, and it's you got it, boss. And now it's set to cow's feet, and it's oh, I heard you want to go to the center of the sun. Let's do it. And then just doesn't cool its jets. It doesn't even just heat its jets up to a certain point and then maintain its jets there. It's jet overload. It doesn't stop. It can't stop. It won't stop. And that makes me sad because I like to cook with things in it. And I've got a buddy who's an electrical engineer who is looking at it, not as we speak, but over the past couple of days. And I've never known what it's like to be in an episode of House MD. But now I kind of know what it's like to be in an episode of House MD.
Johnny, I want you to know that, in the beginning of this conversation, when you said your immersion circulator had died, I genuinely didn't know what that was. And not just, I didn't even have the vaguest idea. That just sounds like something that you, sounds like one of your VR headsets.
Doesn't it?
An immersion circulator.
But the thing is that an immersion circulator is an idiot-proof way to cook things. Chiefly meats, because meats cook at lower temperatures than vegetables. You can still cook vegetables with it, but you should probably stay away from ones that go gaseous, when you cook them, like onions and cabbage and stuff like that, because what you do basically is you set this. It's a heating coil on a water pump.
Oh.
And you turn it on, you put a bunch of water in a thing, and you put this thing in the water, and then you say, like, oh, I'm doing a steak, which is rare at 56 degrees, and I like my steak rare. So you set it to 56 degrees centigrade, and then it will heat the water up to 56 degrees and then keep it there. Doesn't get any hotter, doesn't let it cool down, and so it will just stay there. And then you take your steak, and then you season it, and then you seal it in a plastic bag. And you can just use, like, Ziplocs, just as long as they're, like, food safe up to a certain temperature. You can just use, like, Ziploc bags. And then you just throw it in the water. So it, like, this food will cook in this sealed bag, so it doesn't lose any moisture. And it never gets overdone. Like, you can't burn or overcook anything. If you take that steak out in, like, 4 hours, it is still rare. Like, it will be rare for the whole time it's in there. So it is, like, a tremendous way to cook your proteins because, again, like, you never overdo anything. Nothing ever gets burnt. And you can leave stuff in there for, like, hours and hours and hours. Like, at this particular event, I put some beef heart into it and on Sunday night, and I was expecting it to cook for 18 hours, so I was going to come home from work on Monday and then take it out of the water, and then you can just, like, fry it up in a pan just to, like, give it that, like, they call it the Maillard effect, which is that sort of, like, crispy cooked kind of texture that comes when something is cooked. And then, like, that's it. That's how you cook your proteins. And I came home, and it was off, and I was like, that's weird. It shouldn't be. It should be on 18-hour beef heart. And then, like, I tried CPR, and I shook it, even though you shouldn't shake the baby. Don't shake the baby. And it was just like, no, I can't. But I took it to my electrical engineer friend. I was like, you gotta help me. My baby's sick. And he was like, you're weird. But he's looking at it, and, like, there's, like, a long shot. Like, I bring up House MD because it was like, we thought it was one thing, and we got it turned back on again, but then it was like, it wasn't cooling down, and we were like, oh no, it's worse, which always happens in a House episode, where you're like, here, take this penicillin. It's like, okay, and it's like, what's wrong? I'm allergic to penicillin. Oh no! You know, but then there's, like, a long shot at the end of the episode where somebody says something like, well, gee, you know, I guess we're gonna have to reschedule our mini golf tournament, and then he's like, mini golf? Oh my god, it's lupus! Except it's never lupus.
Okay.
So we have this, like...
I've never seen House, but now I feel like I've seen every episode.
All you gotta do is just, like, look at a picture of Hugh Laurie being handsome for, like, maybe, 30 seconds, and then you'll get the whole experience after hearing this. I'm telling you, this is, like, verbatim, every House script. Right. And, so yeah, we've got this, like, one long shot that we're gonna try, maybe tomorrow or Friday, and, like... man! Oh, I'm so tense! My immersion circulator. And it was like, it's a stupid thing, too, because... No, I'm dead serious. If I need another one, guess what? You can buy one.
Sure.
They're like, I mean, as far as kitchen appliances go, they're actually not that pricey. You can get them for much less expensive than, like, a KitchenAid mixer or, like, a toaster oven, probably. But it was just like, it was the kick that shut the closing door. You know how when you're having a bad time, or, like, things are kind of down, but you're sticking it out. You feel like your skeleton is properly arranged and all your bones are in the right place, and you can still smile and say, sure is a hot one today. But then, like, you drop a kiwi, or, like, even half of a kiwi, and then it just gets, like, fluff on it, and you're like, I have a fluffy kiwi, and then just, like, start crying. Like, that was it on Monday. I came home, and I was like, my immersion circulator was gone, and it was just, like, the worst thing in the world. But global warming is pretty bad, too.
Yeah. I mean, it's up there.
Yeah. I mean, they're comparable, obviously.
Yeah, both involve heat or something.
Yeah, and heat that won't stop, can't stop, and don't stop.
Well, I'm sorry about your meat.
First the sausage house, and now this. Why? I just want to eat some sausage.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I mean, we'll be fine.
I mean,
eventually.
we won't because of global warming, but
No, I mean, that comes after.
Yeah, we'll be fine to eat meat for a little while, though.
Yeah, first. I mean, we'll be fine for a while, and then everything's going to get real bad.
Yeah. Eating meat until the apocalypse. This was fun.
And maybe during, too.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to stop. What am I going to do, run?
Nah.
Why?
Can't outrun the apocalypse. It's fast. Yeah. Which is weird, because it's pretty slow, actually.
Yeah. What are we even talking about?
I don't know, but I sort of feel like Austin's just given up at this point in time. In between where I've decided to steer this conversation and also climate change. Don't give up, Austin. There's still so much to live for.
No, I just muted because you've talked about your immersion circulator like half a dozen times in the show, so I knew that part.
I thought I had, but,
And then I saw a good gif of ferrets, and I was like...
Okay, well, I don't blame you there.
That's where my attention was. I was still listening with one ear. It's just... unlike Leon, I care about you, Johnny, and I've heard...
I was listening the entire time and talking.
No, Matt, the meat stories. Anyway.
I just want to make sure you're okay, because now that I've lost something really dear in my life, and also, I split with my partner recently, I want to make sure that the things that are precious to me stay well. So.
Leon?
Yo.
My brain stopped.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Gotta help. You gotta help. The show is failing.
I'll jumpstart it.
I got more that's non-meat related. Not even slightly meat related. Not even meat adjacent.
I enjoyed Johnny's Meat Corner. If you want to talk about something else that is more interesting to you, Austin, I mean, we will always hear you.
It's your turn, Leon.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Treme was an HBO show that went on for like 3.5 seasons. That came from, I want to say David Simon was his name, who I think is the guy who created The Wire.
Yeah.
And it takes place in New Orleans, in the Treme, which is, I mean, apparently ostensibly a district. Of New Orleans. I'm not sure which, because New Orleans geography is not really my forte. But it begins like a few months to a year after Hurricane Katrina hits New Orleans, and then, just kind of like tells stories from there. Now, in the past, we have talked on this show, I think at least, we've talked on this show about the pitfalls of getting involved in like entertainment that takes a while to get good. How it's like, okay, like if you get to the second season, then, or if you have to get to the second season before it's any good, then it's like, oh, well, don't bother, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like I really enjoyed Treme. But it honestly, I didn't really start really loving it until most of the way through the second season. And in the first place, it's really well acted. The actors are great in it. But the problem is that the conceit of the show is so complex to where it's like, oh hey, let's talk about like America's unwillingness to treat itself charitably, the government's inefficiency in dealing with any non kind of run-of-the-mill problem that sort of crops up, and how that affects like the efficiency of on-the-ground operations, like fire response, medical response, police action, and like corruption that exists in these systems specifically, not just in regards to like these complicated situations that crop up, but also just in general, and try and wrap like 10 like personal stories up in all of these issues that just basically slammed this town after it got completely and absolutely wrecked by, surprise, surprise, climate change. So I finished that. I finished watching that, and it was really good. But I feel like weird recommending it because I do agree with the stipulation that it's like if you have to get like 16 to 20 episodes into something before it's like, and then it gets really good. You know, it's like it's tough to do. But I sort of feel like Treme kind of earns it in a way, insofar as that at least like the subject matter that it's trying to tackle deserves that amount of not lead up, but like groundwork. You know? Like, they get all the way through the first season before they even really start to talk about police corruption, you know? And it just, like, there's... What shocked me the most about the show was how it didn't follow, like, a traditional narrative structure in the sense that, like, okay, so here's the problem, and these are people overcoming.
Yeah.
It's like, here's the problem, and this is people who are trying to frustratingly deal with the problem, while also frustratingly trying to deal with people who are fixing the problem inefficiently, and people who are causing more problems within the problem. It just, like, it was such a hopeless show.
So it's more like real life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, like, it was unusual. It was not what I was expecting. I'm really glad that I watched it. Like I said, the acting is pretty fantastic, and the music is marvelous. Like, if you have any kind of soft spot for jazz, or, like, you know, Louisiana jazz in particular, the show is just wonderful. And, like, even Quintron makes an appearance, which is a name that maybe all of one listener in the show is going to be like, wow! But yeah, so this is the thing, though, is that you guys haven't seen that, so I'm gonna cut off there. What should I watch next, guys? What do you think I should watch next? Can it be something like, I mean, do you guys want something that we can talk about? Should I watch Yuri on Ice? We talked about that a while ago. You know, you're always going on about Bloodlines. I still have to finish season whatever of Orange is the New Black, but that's not going to last me long. Come on.
I always recommend Yuri on Ice. It's just beautiful. And also, it's like, you only have to watch one season. It's not an investment.
I'm looking through like my recently watched on Netflix and stuff. Hold on. I mean, you can still talk, obviously.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Everyone stop while Austin browses through his Netflix.
Because, well, it just, you know, like, it seems like our attentions have been so divided lately. We've all been kind of, like, watching and doing our own... We don't really talk about, like, entertainment pop culture anymore, it seems like. Because I never go to the movies. Although I may go see Baby Driver, because I hear that's really good.
Yeah, I'm going to see that. I'm also going to see the new Transformers movie, because I just have to.
You see, I'm not gonna do that.
That's fine. I understand. we have different priorities and things we have to do with our lives.
Yeah.
Although
we can still talk about it because I'm not sure.
I'm
gonna be spoiled for me. I don't think there's anything you could do to spoil a Transformers movie for me.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's ruined.
Now I know that the robots change. They sure do. Yeah. I saw a couple movies recently, but I'm not sure... how do I put this?
You're not sure they're funkable?
Yeah, I saw It Comes at Night, which is a horror movie. And...
It better be. I would hate for that to be the name of a rom-com.
Yeah. Oh, my. But it's like...
There you go. That's your risque joke allotment for the evening.
There it is. It Comes at Night is a horror movie. There's of late there have been a lot of atmospheric horror movies, I guess, that have come out where like the story progresses, but also there's this like creeping dread, and then the thing happens, and you're like, oh, this is what we've been afraid of this whole time,
right?
But we just didn't. But it was like just under the surface, and we didn't quite know what it was, and there it is. Oh wow!
So it's about climate change. I sense a theme.
Okay.
I shouldn't say I sense a theme. It's more like I'm forcing a theme.
It Comes at Night is 2 acts of setup and then no third act.
Really?
It just basically the climax of the film doesn't feel like it's the climax. It feels like it's like the middle of the movie where things like pick up and like, well, they've reached the point of no return now, something, and then it stops. I guess I lost track of time. It's not a long movie. I guess it's paced in such a way that I thought there was about to be more, and then there just suddenly wasn't. Mm-hmm. I still kind of liked it, but it's hard to talk about if you haven't seen it. It's just there's these people, and it's like revealed within like a 10-15 minutes that the world just kind of stopped, and there's a virus, and these people are living in a cabin, and then they find more people, and they hesitantly let them into their cabin, mm-hmm. And you're like, okay,
what time of day do they arrive?
Oh, stop. And I guess like, and nothing really happens. They have like a few minor disputes. I guess the twist is that the real monster is us. But I don't know.
What would David Cage say?
It's just, I don't know. It's a movie that I like, but feel like I want to like more, but I don't, because it's missing something. It's just there's just a lot of empty stuff in this movie, and I apologize for not articulating myself well, but just imagine watching a movie, and right when things are about to ramp up and we're like getting ready for the third act where things really go fast, and then all is revealed, and then there's like a little twist at the end, it just ends. Like in a really unsatisfying way. I know someone's going to go into the comments and say, you just didn't get it, Leon, and that's fine. That's fair. But yeah, I felt, I felt a little cold from this one. And it's a shame because everyone was like, this is this year's The Witch, or It Follows, or The Babadook. Like every year there's this one indie horror film mm-hmm. that everyone really likes of late. And there's like, this is the one. Like, oh, cool. No, not really. I mean, there is enough about it to be fine that I liked it enough, or clicked like on Letterboxd anyway. Mm-hmm. But that's it. I'm sorry. It's a shame. Austin, you were rummaging through something. Did you find something?
Nah, not really. I basically talk about everything I watch and play on this show, so there's nothing that I haven't already discussed. I basically catalog my entire interesting experience, and then this show is where I record it for posterity. So, with very few exceptions, if something interesting happens to Austin Yorsky, you guys have already heard about it.
Okay.
I don't really hold anything back. Like there's no barriers, there's no boundaries.
Oh, there's a lot of barriers with me.
Yeah, with you, definitely. You're an enigma wrapped in a riddle, and then you delete all your incriminating evidence.
Yeah, you don't need to know everything that goes on in my life. A lot of it's gross. So
I treat this show a little bit more like how the brain processes through dreaming, where it's like nobody knows why. Nobody knows what for. Nobody knows how. But they're like, I don't know. It just kind of happens. And if we don't do it, we sort of go crazy.
All right. Austin, I would love to hear about your law stories that you say have a theme this week.
Yeah,
if you're up to it.
Hold on, do I have to check if I'm up to it? Like, let's see what the.
Shake the magic 8-ball.
Yeah,
Try again later.
You've been a quiet boy this episode, and that's fine. We don't all have to be on all the time. I'm certainly not, ever.
You remember the last time Leon tried? Oh, those halcyon days of 2012.
I do try, but here's the thing. Like back when my life was like really hectic, I was all frantic and uncomfortable, and I just like shouted things into word funk. And it was all like this like sad, funny stuff. I'm fine now. I mean, I could talk about the movie I saw recently. Sometimes I'll just talk about sexually active popes because I'll just come across something. But, I don't know. It's like, I'm a movie without conflict right now. So it's my slice of life stuff, I don't know. I don't know if there's enough tension. I'm sorry. I guess.
You should just be like that show about those kids who suplex that deer.
What?
I think it's called Nichijou. It's a manga, and they made it in an anime, and it's a slice of life, but it's most famous for a scene in which someone suplexes a deer.
Oh, okay. I mean, I could get on that, but I would be afraid of the deer.
Yeah,
if I'm being honest.
The American title is My Ordinary Life. It's Nichijou in Japanese, and the Wikipedia picture is like a bunch of kids sitting in class, and in the background there's a deer looking menacing. I don't know what that was even leading to, but how I like to imagine your slice of life, and it's also the only slice of life.
I mean, I could tell you what I did. Well, today is uninteresting, but I could tell you what I did yesterday. But it would just be here. I'll explain what I did yesterday in 1 minute. I woke up and then I started editing the new episode of Renegade Cut, and then I ate something, and then I ran an errand for my friend.
What'd you eat, Leon?
I don't know, fish probably. I don't remember. And then I ran an errand for my friend because she doesn't drive and she had to be picked up from her doctor's appointment. And then I got her medication, and then I sent her home. And then I went back to work doing stuff. And then I started watching BoJack Horseman again because every once in a while I just will. Which is weird because I never rewatch things, but I've rewatched BoJack Horseman multiple times. And then I went to sleep, and then I finished the episode, and then I went to sleep. And then I woke up, and some stuff happened, and I did this show. Yeah, that's it. that's what goes on in my life. Yeah.
I'm sorry. There was a terrible miscommunication that I made you think I wanted you to say all that.
No, I know. That's the point I'm trying to make is when you say like, Leon, remember when Leon would try on the show? I'm trying just as hard, but my life is different now. It's just so much better, and
what you're saying is, in order to make your art good, you need more suffering.
No, it's not. It's like this isn't. First of all, this is not art.
Message received.
First of all, this is not art, and no. In order to make my
stop gatekeeping my art, Leon. This show is my canvas.
Okay.
And you two are my masterpieces.
Okay. Fine. Austin,
I'm definitely a piece of something.
Yeah. Woo. Austin, paint your canvas. With all of the colors of law.
Okay. So the theme this week is companies our audience has heard of. So the first case is MDY Industries v. Blizzard Entertainment.
Oh.
So you guys may be familiar with the video game World of Warcraft.
Before we begin, I just need to ask the question, will Normal Company factor into any of these lawsuits?
I really, really wish, but unfortunately they appear to be just a boring architecture firm in some other country.
I would hate to rule against Normal Company is all. That's But World of Warcraft, I've heard of this thing.
Yeah, Normal Company is the Leon Thomas of construction companies.
Yeah, boring. Oh.
Yep.
And also, it'd be way better once I destroy it.
So as I understand it, Warcraft is originally based on basically a medieval version of StarCraft. Isn't that right?
Okay, we're not going to be able to play this game.
Okay,
right.
so,
I know why.
So
I know why
Warhammer
that's
40K came out, right?
This show is a nightmare. Okay, so MMO, right? It's the thing you pay a subscription to waste your time in.
Yes.
This person made a bot, basically. It's called Glider. It's a thing that basically plays the game for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he sold it to people. So that it would basically play their characters and get through all the hundreds of hours of boring bad game to get to the boring also bad game at the end when you have all the powers unlocked.
But the boring later game.
Yeah, the boring later. I know I know we have listeners who like World of Warcraft. I'm just messing with you.
I actually know a bit about this, so that's fun for me. Go right ahead.
You have a cool advantage. So actually, the plaintiff in this is not Blizzard. It was the person who made Glider, who goes under the company name MDY Industries. They actually sued for a declaratory judgment, which basically means they asked a judge to say what they were doing was okay before they got sued. So is the thing they were doing okay? Because before working up to the lawsuit, Blizzard instituted a program on their service called Warden, which would check to see if you were running Glider, and if so, would not let you connect. And so the guy retooled Glider to go into like stealth mode whenever the thing came looking for it. So basically, they were playing like cat and mouse with this program. But he made millions of dollars up to this point.
Well, as we've established on past episodes, that most of the time companies don't mind you messing around in their shit and making mods and shit like that, unless it has some kind of cash revenue attached to it.
Well, this is actually a pretty good contrast to earlier cases we've talked about, specifically the Duke Nukem case, in which case someone was trying to sell their mods on a physical disc, and the
Game Genie case.
The Game Genie, where they were making money.
By, what was the name of the company that made the Game Genie again?
Galoob, I think.
Thank you.
Oh my.
Yeah. But they were also making money, but remember, Galoob won because they weren't interfering with anyone's copyright. Remember, this is all copyright class, so it's copyright context, as opposed to some other thing. So that's all the facts. So
here's the thing, is that I know from my experience that Blizzard is very, very protective of people inserting any unapproved code into their game. So much so that like people who basically were attempting to, because World of Warcraft has changed immensely over the years, from expansions to just like basic rule changes to portions of the game going free to play to like a number of things that I probably couldn't even begin to list. But they were even really upset that a group of people were hosting a private version of World of Warcraft that did nothing to the game except basically keep it as how it originally was when it came out, what they call WoW Vanilla. And they basically sent like cease and desist letters to these people who were just basically preserving the game as Blizzard originally made it. So I'm willing to bet that there is something in their EULA, their end user license agreement, that basically says, I mean, not verbatim, but basically says, hey, and fuck Glider. So I would not be surprised if there was something in there already that was like, yeah, you know, only you are allowed to play this. You're not allowed to use any automated programs or, you know, like, because it affects, like, you can easily make the argument, especially in an MMO, that having automated programs, having bots and things like that auto level up, upsets the balance of the game world.
Yeah, that actually came up back when I played Sharon's Call so many years ago. They called that they didn't call it saying anything called glider. People just called them macros. They said, "Oh, you're not allowed to use macro programs that make you level up your character." And the company, if they noticed, you being unattended as you're playing the game, like, if they call you and say, they text you while you're playing it and said, you need to respond to this because we suspect you're using a macro, and you do not, then you are banned. And that is just, and the thing is, an MMO, it's not like altering a single player game where it's like, it's my game, who cares? It's even on servers that are only player versus environment, there's still a competitiveness in it, just in the leveling up. And on PvP servers, it's significant. It's basically just cheating in a really shitty way.
I mean, you guys are talking about user license agreements and balance, which are definitely real things and things that could get you banned from a game. But do you think it's something that the law cares about and that a judge would make you pay them for?
I think that Blizzard would basically be able to argue the case that he could not legally justify the presence of his program as being okay.
Uh-huh.
Like,
I don't remember.
I don't think he got any money from Blizzard out of it.
No, he doesn't he does not want money from Blizzard. He wants the judge to say he is not infringing their copyright.
Yeah, I do not think that infringing their copyright.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is I'm sorry if this is like annoyingly specific, but like the issue is like, how do you distinguish this from the Game Shark, Game Genie thing?
Right.
Because that was ruled okay.
Okay, I do think that it would not be infringing on the copyright. I do agree with that. But I don't think that means that Blizzard would not have got him to shut his shit down.
I mean, spoilers, if you go to the URL for Glider, it takes you to, let me just see, worldofwarcraft.com. So they own that domain now.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I mean, even before you said that, my answer is Blizzard has too much money to not win.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were both basically leaning in the same way, which is why I was trying to complicate it and make it a bit more interesting, because you both have pretty good intuitions that he wasn't going to get away with this, and that you haven't heard anything about this because it got shut down a long time ago. Yeah. But more specifically, what this gets to is that, they would never let him keep doing this. It's their game. They can ban whoever they want. They can stop third-party code. But from a copyright perspective, what's actually going on here and what actually matters in this suit is that it is copyright infringement to circumvent DRM. So according to the Digital Millennium Copyrights Act, if you traffic in technology, I'm just reading this from my notes, if you traffic in technology created for circumventing digital rights management that controls access to a copyrighted work, you are guilty of copyright infringement.
And so it's considered DRM infringement then. Yeah. To have an automated program play a game for you. No,
it's that they changed their program to stop it, and then he did his thing to get around it. So basically, he was specifically saying, I'm going to get around the way that you've made your copyrighted work protected. And this was a law that was passed to protect DVDs because movie studios were nervous about releasing DVDs because they contain perfect digital copies of movies.
Right.
From which perfect copies can be made ad infinitum. So to remove that encryption is itself a crime, which was done within hours of DVDs being released. So that's just it's a thing, because you think, oh, copyright, that's like when you download stuff from Napster, right? But it's actually, there's a lot of things you might not even think about.
Sure thing, Grandpa.
No, that's fascinating, because that little detail of being like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna make it so that it hides. That is a way more prevalent detail than I initially gave it credit. Ooh, I like that, Austin. Sneaky.
You know what my interactions with movie studios as it relates to copyright is like every single time. They say you can't put your video on YouTube, and then they send me a thing, and then I say yes I can, and then I get it back up, and then they send me a counter thing that basically says no you can't. We reviewed your appeal and we've decided no. And then I send the last thing that basically means it's going to stay up or you are going to sue me. And then they decide Renegade cut isn't worth this. And then 2 weeks later, my thing is fine. That is how it works every time. In case anyone was wondering, I just thought I'd throw that in there while we're talking about studios and copyright.
Does that happen to you often, Leon?
Yep. Sure does. It sure
does. I mean, very
think...
specifically from studios, and not because I know that there's a bunch of people who like to sit on ad revenue and things like that.
Oh no! Yeah. I mean, I can get through them even faster because they don't respond that as well as the studios that are like hunched over computers, nervously, clicking on things.
Out of like every 10 videos, how many would you say get flagged like that?
One out of 10. Here's the thing. There's a difference between... That doesn't sound bad, except when you consider that I have over 400 videos on my channel. But no, here's how... There's two different ways this happens. I can get through Content ID very easily just by following the rules that are set up. And what that means is while I'm uploading it, if I get through Content ID, it means it goes up. If I do not get through Content ID, they send me a thing as it's uploading that says, oh, this isn't right. You've used too much of this. And then it doesn't happen. Or it gets, or it gets monetized by someone else and then I delete it. But that almost never happens because I know how to get through that. What happens later is studios manually look for the titles of their works and don't really bother to watch it. They just see the title, and then they say, I bet this is about Fargo, because it says so in the title and the description, and then I send the thing and says, no, it's a critique and therefore acceptable. And sometimes they immediately say, oh, and it's over, and sometimes it's the thing I just mentioned.
Yeah.
So
that whole YouTube system, there's a couple of cases in particular that have created it. One is when someone who works for the record label for Prince found a video of a kid dancing to a Prince song and tried to get it taken down, and the lady was just not having it. And they went to court over that. And although I think she kind of won because they didn't take into account fair use, and you have to at least pretend like you are. And they just forgot to, for whatever reason. But she didn't really get anything, maybe like very small court costs. And the other case is Viacom sued YouTube because they had a bunch of copyrighted material. I
remember that. This was back when Viacom, I don't know if they still do, they owned Comedy Central, didn't they?
Yeah. It was Here, there's a lot of like really well-known companies here. There's Comedy Central, and there's also a Cartoon Network case that are pretty famous, and Sony. That we could go into, but the important thing is that the whole notice and removal system where they're like, hey, stop stealing our stuff, and you're like, I'm not, and they're like, well, we're not going to sue you, so they back down. That is because they have to have a mechanism by which they can at least pretend like they're taking down infringing content. Like, obviously everyone knows YouTube is full of infringing stuff. But for YouTube to cover its own ass, it has to have a system in place by which they could say to a court, look, we're trying. Which is why there's that whole thing in place. And that's once again, a much longer conversation that you can pay like $50,000 and you can come learn about it with me if you want.
I politely declined the offer.
Okay. The more interesting cases, perhaps. One is just a thing that actually happened recently. This isn't even that much. This came up in class a little bit, but I've just been following it independently. The horribly named Washington Redskins. Mm-hmm. This is actually trademark, not copyright, but it's related. Have been having trouble with the trademark office because Redskin is a slur, and you cannot trademark a slur. And so they were actually
sounds sensible. I'm sure that ended well, and that the team changed its name many years ago. Having not followed the footballs, I'm sure that is true because we live in the 21st century.
I have bad news.
Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, they had their trademark was canceled a couple of years ago, and they've been fighting it ever since. And the latest news is it looks like they're going to win and be able to keep it. And like, because it's important for them to get protection for like merchandising, right? Like they can call themselves the fuckers if they really want to. No one can stop them. They just won't make any money, like if they can't control the brand. But long story short, it looks like you're maybe going to be able to trademark quote unquote like offensive stuff. And there's like going to shortly be maybe a gold rush on that, like people just rushing to do it. And it's the Redskins are caught up in it, but apparently one of the big factors is that there was a band, I believe, of Asians. I don't know. I think Asian Americans, maybe Asians, and they named their band the Slants, which is a slur. Yeah. For obvious reasons. And they were like, we're reclaiming this, and it's fucked up that you're not letting us. And the court's like, yeah, I guess that's fair, but we can't selectively enforce. It's kind of an all or nothing thing, and some of that's still going on right now. But the Redskins might stay called that awful thing.
Big shit always wins. That's what I've decided. That the real answer to all of these questions are big shit always wins.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these cases involve Google, and here's a recurring fight. There's this pornography company called Perfect 10 that keeps suing Google, and I've had to read like 3 of these fucking cases because Google image search shows their porn, and they're just like super pissed about it. And honestly, some of these cases, the porn people have a pretty good argument that they're losing all their money because you can just look at their shit on Google, but Google keeps winning because they're fucking Google and they have $1 bajillion and the best lawyers that exist. And like anyone who sues Google is going to be looked at skeptically by a court. They're like, trying to get that Google money, huh? And so like Google keeps winning these things, which if they weren't Google, maybe they wouldn't. And that's also why like, hey, Google Books, that thing where they just scanned all the books in the world without permission, and they just have those in a database somewhere. You guys ever think about how weird that is that exists?
I find it weird and also helpful in my research.
I mean, it's both. But if anyone but Google did that, they would not have gotten away with it, and they did. I mean, they got sued, but Google won.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So big shit always wins, and little porn never wins.
I mean, I don't. There's like a lot of complicated. Porn is the funny thing. Listen, it's actually come up a lot in copyright because there's a lot of money in it. One of the this isn't actually funny. One of the kind of really despicable stories that we heard was about this company. They were like literally, I think it started like as lawyers, but they hit upon this money making scheme where they make gay porn and then put those videos online so that they get pirated. Because, porn aggregation is just a thing that happens, right? People just take pornographic material and put it on their stuff so that they can sue the people who watch it for copyright infringement and force them to settle, because it's like, okay, you watched our video without paying for it. What's the value of that? Like $10 or something? So settle with us for $5,000 or we're going to take you to court and your family's going to know you're gay.
Oh, that's extortion. Or something.
That rather reminds me of a documentary I watched on HBO a while ago. I think it was called Tickled or something like that. About the competitive tickling scene.
I keep hearing about that, but I haven't seen it. It sounds dark.
It's so bizarre, but it starts as just being like, this is goofy, but then it just gets so threatening, just like so quickly about these guys who go in and do these video shoots for like competitive tickling, and then like a couple years later this person who arranged it is like, do you want your family to know that you like to be tickled by naked guys? And it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Weird. And so the last case, this one is actually, I knew this was coming, and the way it was presented to us, it was just like, here's a hypothetical. Say you owned a video streaming service, and there was and you had
Depends, is it VidMe?
No. And it was
Sell.
Oh god! And it was saying how I'm trying to. My whole rhythm's been thrown off. It was like, oh, it's subscription and there's ads, but the stuff you have on your service is freely available on a bunch of other sites. And if you sue them, and then they compare the traffic, and it's like this site that doesn't pay for licensing and offers the stuff for free. Gets 640. I think actually I have the number here. 640 billion with a B views, and our ad rate is such and such. Therefore, they owe us 640 billion times that ad rate. And I already knew before he said it, what the name of the case, which was Crunchyroll versus whatever the fucking other bullshit. It was just a fucking anime pirating site. But I knew it was coming because I follow Crunchyroll's PR on Twitter, and they're constantly losing their shit over all the pirated anime sites, which they've actually had a lot of success shutting down. They cease and desisted like a lot of them over the years. But in this particular case, the one I'm talking about, what does this math strike you? Where they say you got 640 billion views for stuff that we own the streaming license to. You owe us the value of that.
Doesn't that how do I put this? Isn't that based on the assumption that the people who pirated it would otherwise have used Crunchyroll?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's conjecture there.
Because
sure is.
Because like I mean I'll how do I put this? There's always this talk about piracy that they say 100,000 people downloaded the new Transformers instead of going to the movies. That means we lost $100,000 plus whatever a ticket costs. It's possible that just the prohibitive costs of going to the theater is why a lot of people pirated that movie. I don't know why I'm picking Transformers. It's just, a shit movie that came to mind. But yeah, it assumes too much, and it's difficult to prove. And, when you're in court, you have to prove things as I understand it. I don't know. I feel like that's a bit much.
Yeah. Johnny, any thoughts?
I can't really say anything more to elaborate on that. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. Just because somebody got it for free, that doesn't mean they were going to pay for it in the first place.
Yeah. So
I mean, you could obviously it's still like, oh, you're stealing content like that somebody else has the streaming rights to. Well, we got to shut you down, and you owe them money, but the decision of how much money is.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about this infinity times in the video game contest back in the blistered thumbs days, because the fallacy of the lost sale was a really hot topic in regards to used games. You guys remember when that was the controversy that was real hot? Was whether oh, for those innocent days, and they're like, is it ethical to sell games to GameStop? Oh, we were so young, but we talked a lot about then. It's like, hey, poor people either buy used or not at all. It's not like it's not exactly a 1-to-1. And in the Crunchyroll opinion, the judge says, we looked at your traffic and you've had nothing but growth. What are they stealing from you? And obviously better lawyers would say, well, the theft is slowing the growth, and here's our projections for the difference, but the lawyers did not make the best arguments possible. And Crunchyroll loses this particular lawsuit because they did not make a super great argument, and they tried to stick this piracy site for every single view they got. And not the best litigation strategy. One thing you don't want to do in front of a jury is look greedy, even if you are right.
You never go whole hog.
You try to go sympathetically hog.
Yeah. Yeah, you go nice hog.
So yeah, I mean, Crunchyroll is definitely like a legitimate organization that deserves support, and they've done a lot for the anime industry in the West. And I don't want to like say anything bad about that. And they have actually had a lot of success shutting down shady sites. But this one struck me that it's like, oh, I think good lawyers could have won this case. Frankly, you just needed some more convincing pie charts or something.
Now, did this other company Shutter? Did we like establish that? Do you know that? I'm just curious.
I don't know off the top of my head, but
or were they still able to like, congratulations, steal with impunity?
That one of the things about these kind of sites is they're kind of like hydras. Like you can cut off heads whenever they get big enough that people on the internet know where they are.
I remember the days of Napster. I mean LimeWire. I mean Kazaa.
I mean Grokster. I mean, there's. Yeah. Believe me, we read the Napster decision too. They almost, what's funny? They almost won some of their appeals. The Napster hired some good ass lawyers. Like obviously they had a ton of money. But there's a lot of things there. I think actually Napster and Grokster, the successor, went on to be like a legitimate site for a while. Obviously iTunes eventually choked it to death, but
yeah,
they actually tried to go straight for a while because they had just had so much money and mind share. PR is a hell of a thing. It's very important that people know your name. Not so important that they know that you're on the up and up.
Yeah, did you guys hear that Uber invented a bus for rich people?
Yeah. Someone is pointing out that fucking Uber and Lyft are basically creating the transportation economy from the Neil Stephenson novel Snow Crash. Where the companies own the highways and they change their surge prices throughout the day, and the cars are like constantly careening into other lanes to try to minimize their... Anyway, science fiction. William Gibson is the true prophet of our times, and I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for the internet stuff he saw coming too.
Dang, man, that's Cyberpunk like 2 weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys want to answer questions, or you just want to say we did our best?
I have something to say. I'm hoping that Johnny doesn't know about this, so that I can listen to his reaction. Johnny, prepare to have complicated feelings.
All right, I'm ready.
Damon Lindelof, the guy who made The Leftovers.
I think I already know about this, but keep going.
Yeah. He's bringing Watchmen to television as a series on HBO.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now...
Yeah.
As I heard...
Yeah.
All right. Now, my information is old.
Okay.
All right? Because this popped up again today. Somebody mentioned this to me today.
Yeah.
As I recall, originally this idea was pitched as being like the classic Watchmen. That is like, in the graphic novel, the classic Watchmen... of old, because there's a group of guys called the Watchmen back in like the 50s.
Right.
So that's what I heard a few months ago. Time is an absolute mess for me right now of grief and therapy. Yep. But is that still going? Is that still the plan? Do we know?
Variety doesn't have all the information, but it says. The details are too sketchy because HBO declined to comment. They're sons of bitches.
Right.
But it doesn't explicitly say one way or the other. But yeah, it is moving forward one way or the other. I don't know.
I also heard, this is back when that information occurred to me, or came to me, is that it was Snyderverse Watchmen. Like it shared the Zack Snyder Watchmen, like, I don't know, cinematic universe? Is that still the plan? I don't know, okay? Everything's a cinematic universe right now. My Instagram is a cinematic universe. Do we know?
I see nothing where it says that it will definitely take place within the same continuity of the movie.
All right, let me Google this.
Yeah. I'm reading this comes from Variety. I've read it front to back, and Oh, no. It says Lindelof's take on the series would be starting over from scratch, independent of that effort. So no, it is absolutely not. It has nothing to do with Watchmen made by Zack Snyder.
And I just found something on the Hollywood Reporter that says Zack Snyder, who directed the 2009 feature film, is no longer on board the potential project based on the Alan Moore comic series. All right. Okay, this is good news.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, Damon Lindelof is not my favorite writer, like, even close. Some of the things that he has been attached to, which include Star Trek Into Darkness, Prometheus, Lost. I mean, I never watched Lost, but I could tell that when it was on TV, I was like, oh my god, what a sprawling mess. Like, you could smell it. Right?
Okay.
But I did enjoy The Leftovers, admittedly. Yeah. But here's the thing: is that The Leftovers is based on a book written by another person. Tom Perrotta was his name.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm like, oh, okay. I like maybe Lindelof's ability to adapt is like pretty strong, right? So I don't think I'm entirely disappointed with the idea of him adapting a Watchmen TV show, because I do believe that it could happen. I believe that we could have a good for one Watchmen adaptation. Yes, the Zack Snyder movie was rubbish. Come at me, bro. But I got burned so bad last time. Like, I'm having flashbacks now. Oh, my day just went bad again. But all right. I don't know. Could be good. Could be good. HBO has some really good production values at this point in time. They're hitting more accurately than they're missing. And as long as they stay relatively true to the themes in the source material, I'd be down for that. I'd be down for a good Watchmen adaptation. It's certainly HBO doing it as a TV show would certainly give it a lot more ground to cover the more expansive themes. Men doing monstrous things and becoming monsters because of it. So, as long as Snyder's not attached to it, I'm okay with that. Clickety type.
Sorry, I'm okay. Answering. I am listening, but I'm also answering someone who is wrong on my comments. Sorry, but you're wrong. And
no, that's okay.
You're a living XKCD comic, Leon.
So it's good news. It's good news that it's not going to be. It's good news that Zack Snyder's not attached to it. That makes me feel better. That it's not the Minutemen, which were the name of the original Watchmen in the 1950s. Because I sort of feel like that would have just been like. It would have been like, oh, what if quaint 1950s superheroes but gritty? And that just, I don't know. That doesn't sound great to me. So, yeah, okay. Good luck, Damon. If it looks good, I'll watch it. Questions?
Sure.
Austin?
Yeah, I was waiting for the typing to stop. Let's see. Questions. Oh, goodness gracious. Paul Mullen asks, what's Johnny going to cook tonight? Everyone's really excited about your food situation.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking I'm going to do tonight. I I had to take the beef heart out of my immersion circulator. Look at this! The story that I told earlier suddenly becomes relevant.
Oh, we've come full circle.
Yeah. I had
this.
to take my beef heart out of my immersion circulator on Monday, and then flash cool it, because there are things like when you have food in a plastic bag and you don't want it sitting in the danger zone, which is an area of temperature that food shouldn't be refrigerated at because it encourages bacterial growth. Any case, so I had to take it out on Monday, and I didn't want to eat it because I didn't know if it was completely cooked or not. And like I said earlier as well, I had a bad Monday because of that. My whole tower of cards came falling down. So Monday, I didn't even eat dinner. I think I ate a can of soup cold, basically. Monday was bad. And then Tuesday, I did some crying as well. And I had, some leftover pizza. It wasn't happening. So I still have that beef heart. I've also got a cast iron skillet that I have yet to season. So I'm thinking that maybe after this podcast finishes, I will finally get around to seasoning my cast iron skillet. I then might decide to chop up my beef heart, finish it by sautéing in the cast iron skillet. And I don't know. What do you guys think I should do? Roasted red peppers or sautéed fennel?
I think you should promote your beef heart. Give it a military rank. I would recommend Captain.
Captain Beefheart. I could down some Captain Beefheart.
You're welcome, two persons who got that joke.
Yeah,
I do it for you.
Yeah, but seriously, what do you think? Should I go roasted red pepper or fennel? Some sautéed fennel. Have you ever had fennel?
I almost certainly have, but a gun to my head, I could not tell you where or how or what it do.
It's kind of it tastes sort of it's weird because fennel seed, the seeds of fennel, taste kind of licoricey. There's a weird sort of anise kind of taste to it. But then the actual fennel is it's peppery onion, is what I want to say. It's kind of the texture of onion, but there's a weird kind of leek kind of peppery taste to it. I really like fennel, but I have a bunch of red peppers and I have some fennel, and I don't know which I should do.
And it looks like half-ass celery. Get your shit together, fennel.
Well, that's not the part that you eat. You eat the bulbous part at the bottom.
Listen,
all that.
Don't give fennel a free pass. All right, it needs to get its act together. Stop freeloading off of celery. I see in you, fennel, a great potential. You just got to get your shit together.
So you're thinking roasted red pepper, Austin?
Sure, if that'll help.
All right, Leon, what do you think? Are you going to be contrary? You going to tell me to do fennel now?
I like peppers. I would go with peppers.
All right, roasted red peppers it is. And then maybe some mashed potatoes, too.
Okay.
With some cream cheese, green onions. Nah, no bacon. The beef heart will be enough.
This show is my albatross. Next question. Jessica Sims asks, favorite comedic musician or band? Yeah. The first...
It's it's really tough to beat the scope of Weird Al Yankovic.
That's the safe answer, right?
I know.
It's the first one that comes to mind, but it's also he never goes in. He's family friendly. Mm-hmm. There's no edge to him. It's I respect his work, but favorite?
Flight of the Conchords? I mean,
yeah.
they had a pretty strong showing, but it's it's arguable that their show was more funny and memorable than their songs. Because while their songs are funny, it's I often find that when I hear the songs on their own, I'm oh yeah, I remember that episode, and that's the association.
Also, Tenacious D, but they only have 2 good albums. The third was okay.
Do you guys know Corky and the Juice Pigs?
Yes, I actually do.
Yep. Corky and the Juice Pigs have a couple of good ones.
Yeah.
Lonely Island. Are they? I feel like they were real big, and then there was a backlash. Do people still like Lonely Island?
I think so.
I liked their movie that they did. I think a year ago. Popstar.
Never Stopping.
Yeah, it was good.
This is hard. I thought this was going to be kind of a fun, fancy, free question, and now I'm like locked into a struggle. I mean, also Neil Cicierga's work is not. I don't think it's within the spirit of the question, but it's very funny.
Yeah, I think that ostensibly counts as comedy.
Okay, it's a lot. I mean, there's like a whole community of like people. I'm not like super plugged into it, but like YouTube people who do like comedy music and like parodies and stuff.
Do you think the Vandals would count?
Not familiar enough. Sounds can't count.
The Vandals, they were kind of like a 90s, like 90s punk, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, they were kind of like a 90s punk, but then, like, some of the songs they wrote are just, like, so fucking, like, what was the name? There was this one that was, like, My Girlfriend's Dead. That's like, I once had a girlfriend, but then one day she dumped me, and everywhere I go, people always ask me where she was. I don't wanna talk about her. Someone always asks about her, so I tell them all she's dead. And it's just like this song about how he just like lies about how all the ways his girlfriend has died.
Your vocal impression brought back a very strong like impression of that era of pop punk.
Yeah,
like that delivery was spot on.
Like what? There's another one they did, which is probably one of my favorites, called it's like "Don't Change My Pants." We're not gonna. It's like not gonna change my pants or something like that.
Okay.
And it's like, I love you, I need you, I want you, but I'm not gonna change my pants. Never change my pants.
Okay.
Like they were just so like. I don't know, there's something so emblematic about that like 90s rancid kind of like punk.
There was a question somebody asked a couple weeks ago. I can't remember who it was, but they asked if we listened to Ninja Sex Party. Do you guys know who that is?
I'm vaguely aware that it exists, but no, I don't.
I know the name.
Yeah, that's it.
It's Dan Avedon's band. He's in the YouTube show Game Grumps. And he has okay. He's very funny. He has a comedy band, and they're pretty good. Like that's honestly my favorite output of his is when he's just being himself on Game Grumps and just being like, one time I got high and I played Mario and like or whatever. It's just like just him as himself is honestly the biggest draw. But his band is pretty funny too. Mm-hmm. Jeez. Your pants, though. The pants thing's going to be stuck in my head the rest of the night. Thanks. Successful, Johnny.
All right. Hang on.
Yeah. Oh, no.
I found it.
Okay. You ever, what was it, like 2 or 3 weeks ago when you told us about Barbara McKay?
Yeah, Barbara McKay.
Yeah, and how she wanted... What was it that she wanted from her?
She wants you to give your dick to her.
That's what it was.
Yes.
After you told us all about that, I looked her up, and apparently she like is like a new age artist now, and she has like actual credentials. I want to look this up again, because I was reading it and I was like, she must be like an actual super interesting person.
Probably. I mean, to like, I gotta say honestly, when you get to that point in time where you're just honestly, because there's 2 reasons why you name a song that you want to go on the radio called "Give Your Dick to Me." Mm-hmm. And the first reason you do it is because you want to be contrarian. You want to be like, I'm gonna make a radio hit that nobody's gonna play because I'm wacky like that. And the other reason why you do it is you just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You're like, why are people really uncomfortable with other people giving their dicks around and things like that? Like, nah, I'm going to make a song about how you should give your dick to me.
Like, I'm on her Wikipedia page now. She was educated in piano and violin at Juilliard. Like, I don't know if everyone knows what that is. That's like the Harvard of art. Like, she's like a super accomplished, like, she probably could have done anything. And apparently she had like the 2 like funny songs you told us about, and then her career just like dropped off the map, and she just does like weird crystal healing stuff now. But like, I think she probably could have been a bigger deal if she hadn't made that particular choice.
She was, I'm imagining, way ahead of her time.
Yeah. That was a weird time to release. Like, maybe she thought that the sexual revolution was going to happen a lot faster than it did.
Yeah. I guess that's possible.
Because she would have been right out ahead of it if everyone was on that wavelength.
Yeah, I mean, you would have, like, that's branding right there. Grandpa, when did the sexual revolution happen? Well, Sonny, I was listening to the radio back in 1978 when a young woman came on and urged me to give my dick to her. I realized then that times would never be the same.
I mean, I guess the problem would be that they would never have played it uncensored, right? Because it would have, everyone's whole cognition would have changed. They would have been like, "Oh, you can just say that." Like before Barbara McKay wrote that song, people didn't realize you could just say those words out loud.
Yeah.
And in some sense, that is kind of a pure, more innocent time. Where now we all know we can say any words in any combination. You can just go on the internet and just say whatever.
Yep. And you can still be elected president.
Oh, there it is.
You brought it.
All right. Next question. James Neely says, have you ever actively participated in any political movements through things like marches, rallies, or active campaigning on an issue?
Yeah.
Do you want to elaborate, or is that good for you, Leon?
I guess. I went to a protest recently. Like, for example, about the Muslim ban. I was against it, by the way, in case anyone was like, well, in case anyone, this is their first episode and didn't know my politics.
If this is your first episode, I apologize. We're usually at least a little good.
No, first of all, that's
you get what you get. Come back next week.
Yeah. And I've contributed to causes that I guess you could call political, although never to a political campaign. I mean things like the Southern Poverty Law Center and things of that nature. So yeah, but I've never like put signs on lawns or like knock on people's doors. Wait a minute, I did knock on people's doors for environmental reasons. Damn it, I did, but never for a particular candidate. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So yes, but never as a member of a candidate's team, but more about specific issues. That's it. That's what I got. Mm-hmm. Any of you guys?
I've never done like public stuff. I haven't been to marches or protests or anything like that, but I have on several occasions pestered my member of parliament.
Okay. I did that too. Cool. But not Parliament. Yeah. But us.
Called them not Parliament. No. Yeah. But I've called them and been like
American Parliament.
Pet the dog, or like don't pet the dog. That's a bad dog, or something like that.
Well, that's just untrue.
Maybe not the bad dog thing. He's a good boy.
Yeah.
All right.
I kind of feel bad because I'm pretty politically. What's the word I'm thinking of? Insistent.
Austin, at this point in time, your whole life is a political statement.
I guess,
as I understand it. Your lawful aspirations are choosing a path, a career. You are setting a destiny, sir.
Political aspiration. Listen, here's the thing I realized about myself recently, and it was very depressing, which was somebody once asked the question on here, was like, which Ravnica guild are you? And I said, well, I play Rakdos, but that's a demon-worshipping cult, so that doesn't really describe me. And then it hit me that my boring ass is definitely Azorius, which is blue-white, because they're the fucking lawyer guild. There's in the collectible trading card game about demons and angels fighting dragons. I'm definitely the fucking lawyer guild. I'm so boring. I'm sorry. I wish I was cool, but no, that's me. Like, they're cool guys are like, there's a bird and he goes to court. I swear to God, this is a real card. It's called
aviary attorney.
There's a card called Judge's Familiar, and it's just a bird. Listen, I wish I did cool marching and stuff. It's just this is such a.
It's really hot in Florida. I understand.
Yeah, it's like infinite. I mean, everybody's talking about it because it's summer right now. It's like, oh, it's 100 degrees in the UK, and it's like, Yeah, I don't know. I haven't actually said anything because that's an asshole thing to do. Be like, you're suffering. I suffered once. But no, like being outside in Florida is like a bad bodily experience at the best of times. Being out all day so you can get ignored by a rich asshole, much worse. I don't know. I feel genuine guilt that I haven't done more, and I have excuses like, oh, I have 2 jobs. I've been in school my entire adult life. Blah blah blah. But like, I could do more. I could always do more, and I don't. And that's a personal failing of mine. So
Okay.
Austin, it's okay to call a limit.
no, it's true, but it's also like
Like-
if I look deep inside myself, there's the difference between explanations and excuses, and I have some of both.
I mean that's true, but like let's remember that this whole like self-care thing that's going around, where everybody's like, well, it's so very important to self-care, like actually stems out of minority movements, to where it's like people were literally just exhausting themselves to the point where like they couldn't fight anymore against injustice, to like against prejudice and discrimination, things like that. And self-care was a response to that by saying that like the very act of taking care of yourself, the very act of making sure that you're well enough to stand up and fight, is in itself like an act of rebellion. It's an act of protest. It's an act of saying, you're not going to beat me, and I am not going to beat myself into submission either, fighting you, so that I can get up again tomorrow and fight another day and find the energy to keep standing up for what I believe in.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a pretty classic problem that the people who most would benefit from being politically engaged and voting are the people who have to work 2 jobs to feed themselves and therefore are never around when it's time to vote.
Yeah.
So
this was a lot.
It's
a sad catch-22.
Yeah.
Oh my.
We're almost out of time, but I got a lot of questions. I want to let's see real quick. We got a request here from I'm gonna botch this, Toshirokuru, who says, "Are you guys willing to do more evaluations of sex toys at the end of shows?" We got a request. Leon, do you want to search for a sex toy?
I mean, first of all, like, evaluations of sex toys suggest that we are actually evaluating them.
Oh, we are,
like,
with
physically.
our expertise, I would add.
Yeah, I mean, if you mean make jokes about the names and colors of sex toys, yeah.
Yeah, we got you.
One.
We got you, fam.
I'm not putting my name on any reviews until I can talk texture.
Taste. I need to know. Jesus. Consumerist Skeleton says, when you get the Bloody Roar license, would you sponsor me to play competitively? There's been a couple different places on the internet I've been talking about this recently. It's only kind of a joke. I really do want the Bloody Roar license. I will find somebody to make it. There's an entire indie game scene of like fighting game people. Like Skullgirls is the one I named out specifically recently. But like, guys, there's actually a niche for that to come back. It's not a joke, I don't think. Guys, do you want to do voice acting in my Bloody Roar reboot?
I would love to.
If you pay me.
God, you're so difficult.
No, I'm not. I don't do it. I'm sorry. I don't do work for free.
We can get you scale.
Okay. No, I'm not asking for a lot. I'm not a name, and I won't be. And I won't be good at it.
I was going to say that I just you don't have to pay me, but if we could make me a secret character in the game, just so that my portfolio of video games that I am in for like a variety of weird reasons can thicken, then I'm in. You got me.
That's what I'm saying. I think you should both do it for exposure.
No. I don't mean the exposure of like, being in the game, but like if I'm actually a secret character, because I know Kung Fu. You could put me into a fighting game and it would make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, as much sense as it would make me fighting a giant gorilla, but...
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, the conceit of Bloody Roar is that it's a fighting game where the fighters turn into animals. So definitely Leon is a horse. We've discussed this. Johnny, would you just you just be the only non-animal guy? You would just do regular ass Kung Fu.
I would just turn into peak Johnny, where it's like I look like a regular guy, and then like suddenly it's like boom, I've got like a charcuterie plate in one hand, and then like I don't know, a bottle of wine in the other, or like an espresso machine or something like that, and my hair would just go every which way. and I would say something absolutely ridiculous.
There's only two ways to do that. One is to make you super overpowered and piss everyone off as you just beat the lovable cast to death with your wine bottle, and the other is to make you like the Dan in Street Fighter, where you're just like a joke character who can't like really do much at all. I think those both would be pretty good.
And I would go for either. I'm down for both of those options.
Yeah, we're out of time. I just want to acknowledge someone sent me a link to the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure wiki, which is updating with the series as it releases in Japan. And apparently a new stand has been revealed in the manga called Doggy Style.
Oh, well.
I don't know. I got nothing else for you. That's just a link somebody sent me, and I clicked it, and now I'm on the JoJo wiki, and it looks real.
All right.
So now you all have to know this with me.
All right. I want to say one thing before we go, real quick. Sorry that I was clicking during one of
but not sorry enough to stop.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But I don't like. How do I put this? I don't like a comment to go unanswered for a long time if it's objectively wrong. Because I just need to nip that in the bud right away. In my latest episode of Renegade Cut about Fargo, I had to talk for less than half of the video about absurdism because it felt relevant. So I did. And someone in the comment section is like upset with me because he thinks absurdism and nihilism are the same thing. They're not. They have noticeable fundamental differences. And they are related in the sense that they are both part of modern-ish, broader existential thought. They are not the same thing. And when I explained this to him, and I was like, what are you talking about? They're not the same thing. You can just, look it up. He had an answer that was unsatisfying and then ended it with, I'm French, so I'm pretty familiar with these terms. I'm sorry. Like that, I mean, I fully acknowledge that from time to time, I'm very much an ugly American. Congratulations to you on like living up to a French stereotype that Americans have of French people.
I mean, Leon doesn't know anything about pickup trucks.
And I play very bad hockey.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And it's like I told him, it's like you don't even have to like read a lot of books to figure this sort of thing out. Although I do have books on the topic. You can literally just go to the Wikipedia page on absurdism, and it has a really helpful chart that explains noticeable differences among absurdism, nihilism, atheistic existentialism, monotheistic existentialism. It's like. I'm fine like debating things, but I'm fine debating opinions. I hate debating things that are facts because we don't have to. You can just look up the definitions of things. The internet is everywhere. I hate that I have to answer things. Google it. Yeah. I feel like I shouldn't have to do that.
You know about let me Google that for you, right?
Yes, okay. Yes, and I've done that for people, but I didn't feel like just leaving him the link. I wanted to more thoroughly explain why he was wrong.
That's okay, Leon. I understand. You don't have to apologize. We're friends.
Oh my god. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say. In fact, that's why I brought up nihilism in the picture, because people sometimes misunderstand it. And I was like, okay, here's why I think that this is... okay.
Okay. I just want to say the credit for the person who sent me the JoJo link was JJ Hernandez. I don't know if I said that. All right, so we did a good episode. Well, not good, but we did an episode.
It was fine.
Congratulations, us. Good times.
Yeah.
At Ridgemont High.
And I just want to say that I do change my pants. That like even though I'm a fan of that song, I like putting new pants on. Feels good.
All right.
How great would it be for the show if Cam just burst into my room right now with his dick out? Like that would just complete the whole thing really well.
Austin, this is audio. You could have just pretended he did.
I don't have the energy. I'm sorry. I thought about doing it like I do. Oh, Bosog's here. Like just like doing a bit, but like I gotta get up in like 5 hours. It's I got finals next week. I'm so tired, guys.
Oh my god! Why do you even waste your time with us?